Hi beautiful people, welcome back to the channel, Shantia's new chapter. So today I'm doing my final review for Married at First Sight. This is going to be for the reunion part 2. Okay, so my voice might be a little, I was doing another video and it took me about 2.5 hours to do, so my voice might be a little, but I'm like, I look cute today. I want to do this review really quick because this weekend's going to be very busy and I want to have time to edit this video. So let us discuss what happened to the reunion, at the reunion. So there was kind of like 4 parts. There was okay, let me be honest. Let me just be very honest with you guys. I kind of mentally like clicked out, like I checked out toward the second half because I was just like, wait a second, this is a 2-hour reunion. We already saw part 1. That was 2 hours. What do we have? What do we possibly have more to talk another 2 hours about? Like what else is there to talk about? Like, it's done. It's finished. So it just felt like they kept drawing it out. They essentially just revisited the same themes and drew it out. Okay, so I'm just gonna have fun with this review. This might be like a really quick spitfire one because I'm like, I don't really know what else to add. I said everything that I wanted to say every episode, and then it was just like repeatedly coming out. There wasn't any like new profound insights. In fact, the only new profound insights that I was experiencing was from Love is Blind when Zanab I'm spacing out. Zanab lived about Cole, and everyone's just like going crazy on Twitter and on YouTube, and they're like, oh my god, she lied. Like, that's all I was blown away by. But other than that, Married at First Sight, it's a done. Okay, so let me just say thank you guys so much for being here for every review. I appreciate you, but it is time for me to move on. I can feel it in my heart. I can feel it here. And I also need to turn off my blue lights. Is this going to change the way I look? Oh, it did change the lighting. Did you see that? Barely, huh? Yeah, it's just time to move on. Okay, so I'm just ready to move on. I've been watching this show for all 15 seasons. I watched every single season, and I've reviewed the last 3 seasons. The first season I reviewed was so chaotic. It was with that guy whose name was Chris, and he was like, I want a lady, but a freak in the sheets. Like, yeah, he was a hot mess. And then the season after that was okay. That was with Jose and Rachel. Oh no, that season was chaotic too. What am I saying? That season was chaotic. What was his name? Who, like, he was with one girl and then he was with the other girl. What was his name? I can't even remember. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the review. So the guys met, the girls met, and then they all met together and they talked to the experts. Let me get my water really quick. Okay. Oh my god. I just splashed my water on my desk. I am so sorry for this chaotic review, but this is my final one, so it's allowed to be chaotic. Oh my gosh, so thirsty. So the one thing I didn't really like is that when the guys were talking, okay, I actually liked the guys' perspective, but when the women were talking, the thing that stuck out to me is how women are trying to be so nice, even on Love is Blind. Like, women, we have this thing where we're always trying to be nice. We're always trying to be supportive of each other, but it's almost to the detriment of our growth because women have a tendency not to call each other out. And I think it's because, you know, there's this fear. Sorry, there's water on my desk. There's this fear of like not supporting each other. But I'm like, if you were a true friend, wouldn't you call your friend out? Now, look, I'm not gonna lie. My best friend is my soulmate. And I just, in spite of the, like, us making our choices in life, I don't feel like it's my place to judge her. Because I'm like, I'm just here to love you. You know, I'm just here to love you. You do you. But I'm not going to give someone credit for bad behavior. I just cannot do that. Sorry, hold on, I can't let this water sit here. I do not like giving people credit for bad behavior. And this to me showed up in a couple of cases when it came to Morgan and when it came to Kristen. So they're like, oh, girl, you stood up for yourself. We're so proud of you. Mitch really dragged you through it. I'm like, it was a consensual relationship. Okay. It was two people making a choice and a decision. The fact that Stasia was going around calling Mitch the B word, like, what the heck? What the disrespect? First of all, I would really be afraid if I was Nate, if my significant other was going around cussing, using a cuss word to hurt the other person. Now, I checked out. I don't know if she apologized for it, but Mitch did say that it hurt his feelings. Of course it hurt his feelings. No person wants to go around being called a curse word. Like, what in the... There is like some unhealed energy, and someone called it out on the Little Black Book 91's review, where they said that she had some like daddy issues that she was needing to heal. I forgot to call that out. I called that out in the beginning, but I'm like, yes, there are some energies with the masculine, because whenever someone says, I don't even want my last name, I'll take your last name because I don't even want this man's last name because I have no relationship with him. Obviously, there's some unhealed trauma there that's needing to be acknowledged. So the women, I felt like, were so supportive of Kristen's situation, when so many times I wanted to call her out from the beginning. I'm like, girl, you need to speak up, for one, and two, you need to set your boundaries. Because when you're coming back to the reunion and you're saying, well, I thought he was attracted to me, I don't know what he's talking about, when from day one he was saying he wasn't attracted. And then you're watching the clips over and he's talking day one behind the scenes at the wedding. He's saying, well, I wasn't blown away. Your perception is off. That is what you're needing to ask yourself. Why am I not perceiving this relationship correctly? Why am I in this relationship and like thinking and trying to persuade and convince myself that this man is attracted to me when he's not? And then, you know, people always make men out. Love is Blind is a really good example to be villains when they're not attracted. Love is not blind. It isn't. Love isn't blind. Unconditional love is, but it takes years to cultivate that. When you're meeting someone and you're in this attractive phase in your life, right, where you're allowed to choose someone because of their physical appearance, you're going to. Not only that, we have to think about biologically, we're hardwired to be drawn towards some kind of attraction, because what that tells us is that this person is worthy of mating with, because they're going to produce offspring. I'm so not horny, guys. I'm so hormonally attracted to this person. My hormones are saying that this person is so attracted, I can produce and procreate with this person for the sake of survival. So that's what the hormones are saying. We have to remember our bodies are hardwired this way. We can't just dismiss attraction. There's a reason why, like, people, that's why the Love is Blind thing is actually silly, because attraction is important. You want a healthy, vibrant, attractive person to be drawn towards. The only times where the relationships on Love is Blind has worked is when they were attracted to the person. When they didn't see them and when they did see them. That's the only time the relationship works. It never works when there's no attraction. It never works. It never works because something is in you. It's saying, like, biologically, I'm not compatible with this person. You can't force yourself to biologically be compatible with people. It's just not a thing. Okay, so moving forward, with Married at First Sight, it's the same concept. Whenever people are not attracted, it just doesn't work out. When the women aren't attracted, there have been seasons where the women have not been attracted. And when the men aren't attracted, it's the same thing. So that's just my thing. Please call her out. Please stop saying the experts who were like, oh, Kristen, we support you. Oh, Morgan, we support you. No. Call them out. They had some issues to be healed. Now, I am proud of Morgan. I think she has really worked on herself. I think she has stepped up to the plate. I think she has understood, that she has to do some inner work and that she was being very reactive. She called herself out. So I'm proud of her. I'm just needing Kristen to do the same thing. It's not like, oh, I'm worth more. I don't think you know that truly, because you're still fighting with Mitch saying that he needs to be attracted to you, or he needs to respond to you in a certain way. The minute you're like, okay, I like Mitch and I don't care and I've let it go, I know that you've let it go, that you have moved on. So that's my thing with them. Now, with Ben and Morgan's situation, he acknowledged, and I love that Pastor Cal said this, like, don't pull down your self-confidence. Don't try to make yourself feel so guilty to the point where you're like, oh, it's my fault, my childhood trauma. Look, Ben, we were not seeing you project all of your childhood trauma onto Morgan. In fact, the minute she called you out, you pulled back. It's called self-awareness, and you're going to need that. So you're not going to go into and enter into a relationship just like a perfectly healed person, ever. We're always needing to do work. And not only that, we attract people, our reciprocal, who also needs to do the same amount of work as us. And when we, especially as women, when we powerfully do our work, our counterpart does their work too, without even realizing it sometimes. Okay? So don't ever feel guilty about like, oh, I have childhood trauma that needs to be resolved. Of course you do. You're human. You're human. You feel things. You're processing things. You're still learning, right? The reason why you're here on this earth is to learn, and to learn how to be human, to learn how to process these emotions. Okay, moving on. Back to Sassia and Nate. Nate kept fighting with and bickering with Justin. Not mature, not a good sign. I almost want to say, like, my intuition is telling me that Sassia has been wearing him out emotionally, like draining him to the point where he's like at this like edge where he's snapping. And I think he's holding onto the Justin situation way too much. Not necessarily because he's so moved by what Justin did that he has to come for him. I think a lot of it has to do with maybe it's just his outlet. And sometimes people do this. It's like whenever they need an outlet to like hurt or to express their hurt, when they're hurting, they go for an easy target, unfortunately. And his easy target was Justin, because Justin was honestly an emotional person who's hurt in his feelings all the time, very reactive. Easy target. So people who are easily reactive like that, we have to take note that when you're in a very reactive space, you become the victim, and you also become someone else's target. Me, for example. I was easily the black sheep of my family growing up because I was an emotionally reactive person. I had to stabilize myself for me not to be the target. Now, people aren't, it's not like a mean-hearted thing. It seems like a very mean-spirited thing for people to come for you, but actually they just come for you because it's like a magnetic thing. You know how a bully knows how to choose their victim? People will know how to choose their victim based off of their, like, the trigger. They know you're triggered. They can feel it in your energy. They know that you're easily triggered. So they're going to come for you. Versus someone who's non-reactive, for example, or who's less reactive, like my brother. Not a very reactive person. So why would someone even bother with starting an argument with him when he's not a very reactive person? It's easy to go for people who choose to be in a victim state because their energy is kind of activating that. So until you stabilize that within yourself, if you feel like you're ever a victim in a situation, just ask yourself, what am I doing to create this reality? What am I doing? What part am I playing into this? How can I change it so I no longer have to be the victim in this situation? So take note of that. But yeah, something's off there. Something's needing to be worked through there with him. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. Him and Justin going back and forth is a lot. Now, Justin, when he was having his conversation, I'm kind of all over this place. I'm not going to label this review. It's going to be like fluid. We're just going to see what comes through. With Justin and Alexis. Oh, sorry. Going back to Sassia. Again, I would love for her to take more accountability. Her calling Mitch the B word showed me a lot about her character and who she is, and her rigidity, and her not recognizing what needs to be healed there. Because calling a man the B word, I just don't know. Like, in what world is that okay? I mean, I guess in this world it is. She's making it okay, but I wonder at what point, where did she go to in her mental headspace for her to think that that's okay? Like, that's a healthy thing to do. And all the women deciding to join in with that experience and call him the B word. I'm just like, are you kidding me? And Kristen too. Wanting him to call him the B word. Not only that, saying that she wants this man to chase her, but she's chasing him and wants him to desire her, but she wants to call him the B word. I'm just like, do you know how confusing that is? Do you know how confusing? Do you see why I'm like, we need to call ourselves out more and see what are our behaviors and reactions? Why are we doing this? Why are you claiming that you want this man to be attracted to you, but you don't even really respect him? Nor do your friends respect him, and you're okay with them disrespecting your spouse. That's problematic. To me, that's worrisome because there's like a power play dynamic here. Are you drawn towards people who you feel like you want to be better than, you want to one up, but you tell yourself that you're better than them? I don't know. It's very interesting sometimes how we get into relationships and we tell ourselves, sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, I'm better than this person, or we need to tell ourselves that we're better than this person. Like, we're not in it for the love. We're actually in it because we need to say we're better than this person. Or we want to be the victim in the relationship, kind of. We feel like this person is constantly bringing us down. There's always like these power dynamics that are at play in our relationships. We need to pay attention to what's going on under the surface, and we need to be honest with ourselves. I feel like my sugar, I don't know. I feel like I'm having a sugar crash right now. I don't know what's going on. I had one cookie earlier. I don't know. Okay, it is late. It is, guys, oh my gosh, it is so late right now. But I wanted to get this review done for you. So moving on to Alexis and Justin. When they were talking. So there was some kind of weird misunderstanding around when they consummated their marriage. According to Justin, they consummated their marriage. According to Alexis, they didn't consummate their marriage. Yes, it's awkward. It's so awkward. Because Justin, as we've noted before, he will throw people under the bus, and he will kind of paint situations in a light so that he benefits somehow or makes himself look better. At times, he is willing to admit where he's wrong and where he needs to be more honest with himself. But he's very reactive when it comes to his emotions. And when it came to Alexis, I felt like there were so many times where it's not that he's trying to make her look bad, but he was okay with bringing out those situations. Like saying how she, stopped at his apartment. She might have. But someone called out, and I think they were absolutely right, is Justin will just, to his benefit, he'll call out people. He'll say this about Nate. Maybe some of those situations did happen, but it's like those could have been resolved in a private conversation between the two of you versus putting it out on TV, putting your drama out on TV. He's so reactive. So again, it's just reaffirming he's not in that place to be in a relationship, to be in a partnership, because he's so reactive. And a lot of people claimed that he's very feminine. He's very much in his emotions. And I would say to this, there's nothing wrong with being feminine, but the reactivity that Justin is, the unhealed energy, is not healthy. It's not okay. That's something that he needs to reflect more on and most definitely go to therapy for, because he needs more of that clarity mirrored back to him to reinforce what he needs to work on. Okay, so what else was I going to say about Justin? I think my blood sugar just crashed. That's happens. It hasn't happened in months. I don't know. It's very weird. I think it's also because it's late. When Justin's brother came up, his brother mentioned the situation with the dog. So his brother mentioned this. I think I'm hot. His brother mentioned the situation with the dog. And he said, why did you give up your dog when you know you were going to resent her? And I thought that was actually a great way for him to call out Justin, because absolutely he did resent her. After he did it, he was like, well, if I do this, she'll love me. But part of him also knew if she didn't respond the right way, he was going to be very upset. So in that sense, we need to analyze the whole part of the situation, because there was no guarantee that she was going to have the right reaction that he desired or that he wanted for their partnership or for their connection. So it was reactive of him to decide to give up the dog. And it was reactive of him to see when she didn't respond the way that he wanted her to, that he was just like, okay, I guess I'm done, or this isn't what I'm wanting. You know, his emotions are kind of all over the place. So as far as Alexis goes, I think she still needed to be honest with herself. I find it so interesting that Alexis, in the beginning, kept talking about how she's proposed to 3 times. And then towards the end, you know, we didn't really hear any of that. We heard that she was a runner, and we heard there's a lot of like emotional ping pong back and forth going on between her and Justin, where both of them were being reactive in their relationship and in their communication with one another. I think I want to give Alexis credit, because I felt like Justin's energy, it was very evident that he was being very resentful towards her, and he was pulling her energy down, and he's done that on many occasions and been very reactive. She said that she was having to emotionally regulate their relationship, and I would say yes, but I would also say when it comes to you as the one other person, the party in your 2-party relationship, you can't really emotionally regulate someone else. That's why it's exhausting, because it's not natural. So you might feel this need to like save the person, nurture the person, or regulate the person, but you can't actually do any of those things. You have to let them figure it out. All you can do is be a mirror and say, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I felt, this is what I sensed. What do you think we could do to help this situation? Because this is what I'm feeling like isn't working. And then they can decide whether they want to do something or not do something. But you can't regulate people. You know, they're not... and especially, she said he's like so feminine and very reactive. It was a turnoff for her. So especially if you start treating your partner like they're your child, like you have to mother or father them, like the attraction just disappears completely. But on top of that, you have to admit if someone is like too feminine for you, either have those conversations, talk about it, and be honest with yourself about like what's not working or what is working. And most definitely don't force yourself, right? Do not force yourself into situations where you're like, I don't see a future here. I don't see how this is going to possibly work. So even though Justin may be very direct and sincere in wanting the relationship to work, he actually has no tools to make a relationship or create a stable relationship now, at this point where I'm seeing him. He doesn't actually have the tools for it, because he's still reactive. Okay, that's Justin and Alexis. Lindy and Miguel, I don't know, there's really nothing else to add about Lindy and Miguel. They seem like they're in a good place. It seems like a really good place, like, you know, compared to where they were before. I don't know. I think as long as Miguel can handle her reactions, then it's fine. If he's saying, okay, I'm fine, I'm good, I can handle it, she's walking me through this experience, then I think they're good. it is surprising to hear, because when they were showing the clip, she was very reactive. She was in a high state of a lot of emotions and feeling a lot of things. So I don't know. I don't know if that just disappears, but she's saying she's consciously working on it and he's consciously accepting it as well. So that's all there is to say about them. Is there any other couple I missed? I think that's it. Mitch, do I have anything to add on to Mitch, with Mitch and Kristen's dynamic? Not really. I think a lot of people were frustrated with Mitch. I never really was, because I feel like that guy is who he is. There are some times where he's been stubborn and held on, and maybe there's something I'm not seeing in terms of why people are so upset about Mitch. But I'm just like, I feel like he was who he was from the beginning. You know, he never really hit it. And I like that he said that he should have watched more of the show in the past to see what he was going to expect, because the first thing he commented on was like the dress and like, oh, it's lavish and it's too much, and I'm like, this is what it's like every season. So I thought that was interesting that he commented on that. But other than that, I think he's stepping into a place of maturity. I think he's going to do fine. He's going to thrive. He's going to learn what works for him, and in time, you know, when he feels like he's absolutely ready, he will commit. Any final words? Those are all the couples, right? Kristen and Mitch, Lindy Miguel, Alexis and Sasha. Yeah, that's all the couples. Other than that, there's nothing else. Married at First Sight is a really fun show. I don't know if I'll even be watching next season. We shall see. Or I shall see. But I hope you guys have enjoyed these reviews. Please feel free to enjoy my other content on this channel. And like, subscribe to continue to support the channel. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought, and I will appreciate that. I will appreciate any kind of comments, any kind of final notes you have for me. That is going to be the end of this review. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Have a beautiful day or evening. Bye.